This is part one of Kempton Steam Museum, learning about the steam engine and meeting the volunteers.
So this is all your details you need to know. We've got, this is this week, which will be is May, and these two have already been, so forget about them. But this is the next one after this week, which is the 17th and the 18th of June. It is Kempton Steam Museum. It is at Hanworth. This is its social media, Facebook and Instagram, and its opening times, I think, is on those days will be 10:30 till 4 p.m, I believe, but I'm sure you can find that on the website. So you have to get yourself down here, but I don't even need to tell you you have to get down here, because you're going to see a full video to know how wonderful it is to get yourself down here, so come on.
Can I introduce you to our Chief Engineer, Jerry Schofield?
Hi. Hello. Pleased to meet you.
And Emma.
Hello, pleased to meet you.
Hello. Who's helping to warm the engine up this morning?
It's beautiful.
It's actually warming me up. Well, I'm glad you're inspired because you'll be asking lots of questions and doing interviews and things.
I'm sure I will be, I am. It's incredible. Look at that.
What's that for?
It's massive.
What does that go? Which bit does that go on?
It doesn't go on any of
Oh,
the bits nearby. But so there are bigger spanners than that. There's just one.
It's bigger than that.
I'll find him, don't worry. Well, that was wonderful meeting Jerry. Now, I am going to let myself loose and we're going to have a look round. Come on. I think we'll start here, right to the far end, so we can do a massive circle round and go up. Just something like that. Come on, let's start over here. It's a Sir William Prescott engine. Absolute beaut. He pumps the water to the north of London. And today what they've been doing is, and they did start yesterday as well, is slowly warming up the boiler because of they're putting it in steam tomorrow, which is super duper exciting. But so they've got to make sure everything's all right, and they've also got to because of they have to make sure there's no water inside it, otherwise the pistons won't work. And they can't afford to have any water in it because I'm sure something probably drastic will go wrong. But we're going to speak to Chief Engineer later on, so he should hopefully tell us everything about that in a lot more detail, better than I can. But I think we're going to have a little listen over here. Now this, I believe, is the temperature of what the boiler's getting to. So I think, but I'm presuming it might need to get to 200, but I'm presuming that, so I don't know if that's true or not. But I know it needs to get further. Now if you can listen, that is it heating up. I think it'll probably be going through here. At least it's around about there. But you can hear it, maybe even these. You can hear it getting all ready and pumped up. It's just amazing how, even though you have to start, 2 days before, getting it all ready, how much work goes into, getting the beast up. I suppose when you've got to move these massive, these beautiful, I'm presuming pistons, but not entirely sure. Stuff. I mean, can you imagine having to move them? So they have to get everything heated up to do it, which is, well done to them. Massive spanner. Apparently there's bigger ones than these, but look at that. I've never ever seen a spanner that size in my life. It's massive. Actually, how would you lift that? I mean, I know it's tied up, but how in the world would you actually lift that? I'm sure it weighs a lot. And you've actually got to move it after you've lifted it. Oh my god. And you can get it on a bolt and everything. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of music, and I'm going to show you around it, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to show you loads and loads of things about it, and I'm also going to have an interview with Jerry.
I don't know what to do or where to go. I'm walking down this road, banjo in tow, looking for you. Shoo-doo-be-doo. I don't know where to go one good reason why you shouldn't be by my side. Tell me one good reason why you shouldn't be in my life tonight.
So I hope you enjoyed looking around there. Now I'm going to show you upstairs. I know, upstairs. And the thing is, this is only one engine. There's another one there. But let's do this one first. Come on, I'm super excited to be going upstairs. This is probably the one bit I was looking forward to the most. Come on. We're upstairs. We're upstairs. One of these wonderful machines. There's two. And now this is Lady Prescott. And she is the one where they're not steaming her tomorrow or getting her ready, but what they're doing with her is she's basically getting into brilliant condition, so then she can be steamed eventually. But I think that what they're doing is, if anything goes wrong with that one, then they've got her. But what they do with that one is they use her as a tour guide, because if she hasn't got like the oil and stuff and everything as this one's got, and they use her as a tour, so she gets to look around probably the majority of the most of the time. So that's what she's there for. Massive big crane lift that can take 20 tons. So they actually use this to make this whole, massive big machine. But everything came by train. I'm presuming steam train because it makes it more exciting. And it probably will be. They all came from there. But the thing is, you see the massive big flywheels, the big turning ones, and they each weigh 32 tons. So they have to be brought in halves because that can only take 20 tons to be lifted in because it's so heavy. But obviously that's supposed to be heavy. But there's a massive big doors over here which I will be showing you. Good show now, actually. Brought in. And they also stretch down to here, so they have, massive. And they haven't yet. I was talking to them. They haven't yet opened those big doors yet, because I suppose they need a ladder or something. They're not too sure how they did it. I suppose you should use a ladder. But they haven't needed to open them yet, so they haven't done. But yeah, little fact there for you. There's one of the volunteers working away. Where are you up to?
I'm just bending these out because we have a marquee down there that we're going to have some toy steam engines in.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, so I want to make the whole other side of the marquee come up. So I'm putting some strings in there basically, and these hooks we then pull them up and put these so that they stay up. It's that mundane.
It's like you three just do it there, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you. Even the end of this, just how beautiful it's been made and how just stunning, and it's so long as well. Oh, somebody's going to tell us a bit about it.
So you know that this is a triple expansion engine.
We read that, yes.
Yeah. So the steam comes in at this end here, right, and then it goes through that cylinder. So it expands in the cylinder. Yeah. You can see there's not much light in here at the moment.
It's actually okay with this.
Okay.
Yes, I'm picking it up fine, thank you.
So the steam goes through there, does its work, then it goes into there.
Here.
Yep. And then it gets reheated a bit, transferred along, and goes into the centre, the intermediate pressure cylinder.
Right.
So it does its work in there, comes out, gets reheated, and goes into the low pressure cylinder. And then it goes from there down beneath here to a condenser. So it condenses the steam back into water, and that creates a vacuum. So when this engine's running, you have a vacuum on the low pressure end, and about 200 psi, up to 200 psi, we don't use anything like that because it's not working, at this end. And that's how the pressure diminishes all the way down. I don't know if they told you about those rings there.
No, they didn't.
Okay. Are the piston rings.
Right.
So that's the small, the medium, intermediate pressure and the low pressure. That's the size of what's going up and down.
So I'm only presuming this, but the size ring, the different the pressure? I don't think
yes, it's offset because you go from the high pressure.
Yeah.
It expands, so it loses some pressure. It expands and it does its work. It presses down on the piston and does its work. So when it comes out, it's at a lower pressure. So to get the same amount of work, you need a larger piston because there's lower pressure. And then that goes on to the low pressure cylinder, the same thing. So if you multiplied the pressure by the area of the piston, you get X amount of work, and I can't remember what it is, right? I don't know what it is. You then go down to the intermediate, you go, well, you've got a lower pressure, larger area, same amount of work. Go down again to the low pressure, even lower pressure, even larger area, and you get the same amount of work. So they all of these cylinders do the same amount of work. Even though the steam pressure drops off from one to the other to the other.
Slowly getting it. Slowly.
Yep.
Thank you. Sorry.
I mean, you might be able to see another pipe there.
Yeah.
So, the water comes in at the bottom pipe, gets sucked up, right, through valves in there. You can see some down here. And then when the piston comes down again, it pressurizes that water and it goes out the end. And that's where it starts going up to the reservoir as far away as Cricklewood.
Wait, so why does the water need to go? This probably sounds really stupid, but why does the water need to come in here?
Basically, it's got to go from here up to 400 feet higher up, right, and up to 16 miles away. So that takes the main's up to 48 inches in diameter, and if you think this is going back to old measures, but if you think a pint of water weighs 1.25 pounds, think of how many tons of water there are in that pipeline going 16 miles away, and it's that, well, it's 48 because you've got that one and one over the other side, so 48-inch diameter, and you can just imagine how much weight of water that is that you're pushing uphill, and that's why it needs all this power to get it up there. From there, gravity takes over, and it feeds through to the houses under gravity. If you'd like to see how this fits into the engine, as it were, we can go to the top over there where we've removed a valve, and you can actually see inside the cylinder.
Sounds great.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
You can see the size of the casting. I mean, these are all cars, so they have to make a void and then pour molten metal in there to make that. They're just huge. There are pieces down here. Now, good echo. I don't know about anything else. I'll see if I can turn that light on.
He's just come to get us a light, shows the pistons that he's taken us for. God, look how high up we are. Oh my God, I feel really queasy. So high up. Imagine working up here. Imagine actually building it this high up, knowing that if you fall, then things don't go well. Oh my God, it's so high up.
Sorry, I haven't got a torch with me.
Oh, I've got my phone.
You've got them now?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Once you don't, you've got your phone. How much chance of recovery?
The stroke, I think, is 5 feet, so it's 5 feet from the bottom to
So the piston goes up 5 feet.
yeah, up and down 5 feet, I believe.
Look at the crane rail. I mean, this goes across here so you can see it moving, then it can go all the way back there as well, so then it can be on that side. I mean, just even that's, a massive machinery. And then, what was that? That's here for this, which is the massive machinery. Thank you so much for letting me speak to you. You have actually really shown me a lot more. I really am beginning to understand it now. When I leave, I'll probably know how everything works. So thank you really much for that. And thanks for having me.
That's quite all right. Glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you. We got a bit sidetracked here because of obviously it's such an amazing machine. We just carried on looking and we had a little chat with Colin. So now we're going to go back over there and look at the Sir William Prescott engine. Come on. We then went to speak to Chief Engineer Jerry. Oh, he was a wealth of information. It's Jerry, and you're going to tell me anything you know about it. So do you know any interesting facts about it?
Well, yes. The history of the site starts in 1897, when an independent water supply company called the New River Company wanted to expand its operation, and it bought this plot because it's nice flat land, it's good for putting in reservoirs, filter beds, and extracting water from the Thames. So that's when it all started. This building was put in 1926 and came into operation in 1928 and was pumping drinking water to North London via Cricklewood right up until 1980. And then this building was shut down and new electric pumps took over. Still pumping to the same place.
How long have you been working here for?
Well, I started in 2007, so I'm not quite 20 years yet, but it's something that I've been doing every Thursday and most Tuesdays and whenever we've been in steam.
Not quite often then.
Yes. It's a bit like a full-time job.
Enjoyable wood.
Very much, yeah.
Do you have like a particular thing you do, or do you just do everything sort of thing?
Well, we're mainly mechanical, so we'll make sure the engine's in good running condition, service things that need to be, make sure that the oil system all works properly and look after the steam supply, the boiler system, and do our best to keep the place clean, but it's not always that successful.
What are the engines called Sir William and Lady Prescott?
Well, Matilda, there's a very nice bronze plaque just on the next level, and that's got his name and the name of various other engineers that are involved. So if we go down and have a look at that, we can see exactly what his title was and therefore what he was doing.
Come on then.
So you see here that the Metropolitan Water Board was the organisation that ran the water supply for the whole of London, and the chairman of that board was Sir William Prescott, and therefore the engine was named after him, and his wife is named on the other engine.
Quite an honour, isn't it? What's it to do with the Titanic?
Well, a lot of visitors ask us if our engines are the same as those used in the Titanic, and they're not the same, but they're similar sort of size and shape and weight, and they have been used for filming in various Titanic films in the past, so that's why we've put that there with a little bit of an explanation about just how those engines were built.
So, was it actually used, this full thing, for the filming of the film of the Titanic, like, you know, the big one?
Well, that was before my time. I know various films have been made. The last one was actually, I believe, called Saving the Titanic. And then the whole of this area was made into effectively an engine room, and all the lighting was blanked out, and the film lighting was put in, and that engine was running for most of the day with people controlling it as if they're controlling a ship's engine. Well, Matilda, would you like me to show you downstairs? Because there's some machinery down there we haven't seen yet.
We're down here.
Right, well, if you want to see that, Matilda, this rotary system, there's an exposed unit over here, and we can get that running, and you can see how it actually rotates.
Get running?
Very slowly, under electric motor, but it gives you an idea of what it was doing.
Okay, of it.
So it's just powered up with an electric motor, but it shows the principle. Yes, it came in under the floor and it went down through this one here.
So, is there like some pistons here and then that pumps it up?
Well, let's go around the other side and you can see that more clearly. So this is the bit that supplies the power. This is the steam turbine. So steam is fed in at this end and it forces these wheels round with their tiny blades and it condenses down into here, returns to water. And that's providing all the power and energy that's needed. The speed is reduced by this gearbox here and the actual pumps are these two items further back. This one is sealed up, so you can't see what's going on, but with this one, we've opened it up, and you can see it's got a large bronze rotor in the middle, and water comes up either side through the bits in here, and it's spun out, because these are moving pretty fast, and through the pipe at the bottom and out at the top. So that is actually a centrifugal pump.
Wait, so does the water go in there?
So that would all be full of water in there, yes. And as the water is flung out of that rotating device, it's forced into the chamber here, but it's still going round. And if you look a little bit further down, you'll see a dividing part. So once the water hits that, it's forced down the pipe, it can't go round again.
See what you mean by now you've separated them. I can see it for me, and it was like, I didn't know what it meant first, but SNC now you've obviously
Yes.
lifted that up.
Yeah. And that is the way that most water, drinking water and large quantities of water are pumped at the moment. Only say with electric motors, not steam.
When was the last time it was all like restored?
Well, not since 1980 when it was shut down. It was in good condition then. It was given a fresh coat of paint and everything looked good. The visitors came to see the shutdown, and then the building was locked up and this part hasn't been touched since.
Was that the last time it run as well?
Yes, that's right, yeah. So this is below the groundwater level, so it is continually pumped out. We get a certain amount of water seeping through the walls, and if we stop pumping, the water will come up to about your head height.
Has it ever been filled?
It has been flooded. When we first started to do some work here, the water level was right actually on that mark there and there.
Oh, it's really good, isn't it?
So it had to be pumped out and cleaned up before we could do anything else.
Definitely. Probably first thing you did.
This is a part of the support equipment for the turbine that's just above our heads, and that deals with the cooling water for the condenser and actually getting the water out of the system where the steam has condensed, and that's pumped away. It collects here from all the gullies and is actually pumped out into the wastewater system.
How long is it?
Oh, it would be a few weeks or months really. If the pump stopped, we would have the water a bit flooded probably within about 24 hours, but it would take a lot longer to actually come up to any height.
What's this different colour to everything else machine, Jerry?
Well, this is our filtration system for the oil that's used to lubricate the bearings of the great engine. So this device will heat up the oil to nearly boiling point and put it through a very high-speed centrifuge. All the particles and water that might be collected in the oil is flung to the outside and collected into the tank and disposed of. And the hot filtered oil goes back into the tanks when we reuse it. And if we look after the oil by using this machine, we can actually have the oil in use for 5 or 6 years before it actually needs to be replaced.
Fantastic recycling.
Well, yes, I mean, it's a lovely machine. We've had it serviced regularly, and it does exactly what we need it to do. It preserves the oil.
Which one did you say?
These two tanks contain all the oil we need to lubricate the engine when it's running.
So you know when I see sometimes people like have a little oil can and they give it a little squeeze and
Oh,
they
we have
put
our
it on.
oil cans as well, but this
Do you
provides
get it from
the
there?
bulk of the oil. Yes, yes.
You just have a little dip and just get it like.
And when the engine's running, these rods will move up and down and pump oil up to the top of the engine, so it can then run down through the pipework we've got to all the moving parts, so everything gets lubricated properly, and then it's collected in drip pans and it all comes down here again to be recirculated.
It might sound a bit like a hard question, a hard one to explain, but how does they get the oil up so, you know?
Well, these pumps are actually linked to the moving parts of the engine, and these are actually, each time these moves, it pumps a certain amount of oil up the pipe to the top. So it's a continuous system once the engine's running.
So how many volunteers do you have, like, all together?
Well, it takes 6 volunteers to actually run the engine. So we've got 2 on lubrication or oil control. We've got 1 on water control to make sure there's enough water going through. We don't want to be pumping air. We've got 1 on boiler, and we've got 2 drivers. And we have 2 drivers because one has to use the starting engine while the other one is letting steam into the engine.
Or is it like a same time job thing?
That's right, yes. So 6 for this. But actually, overall, to be open to the public, we'd normally need about 20.
So what about if like one of them would come or something, your backup ones, or do people know like sort of that job or sort of thing?
Yes, we have a sort of a training system where everybody knows what they're qualified to do. And when I'm making up the duty rota, I check what qualifications people have got and what jobs we need to do and work it all out from there. And then I publish that in a great spreadsheet, and people know what they're going to do on what dates, and normally they stick to it.
Is there certain dates that like volunteers tend to come as like a certain date where you're supposed to come, or do you just come whenever sort of thing?
Well, yeah, we tend to have electrical volunteers on Tuesdays and mechanical volunteers on Thursdays, and sometimes people turn up on Sundays to just do a bit of extra work as well.
The sheer size of this. Look just how massive. If you think about the size of me, I'm not too sure how tall I am, but you know, I'm not small, but I'm not tall, but you know, I'm as human. And you think of the size of this compared to me, just how massive it, how thick it is. You know, you'd probably take about maybe 3 people, maybe 2 if you have long arms to hug around.
I think it'd be more than 2 people to hug around that.
Probably. I'm trying to work
Don't
it out.
hug it, it's very a bit oily.
But you know, just how massive. You think about, you know, how wide that is, and then double that by 3, you know, or 2.5. How massive these are! It's just absolutely mind-boggling. And I'm just out of curiosity, have you ever had any sightings?
Well, actually, there is a report of a sighting, and I think it was a time when the whole site was in use, pumping water, and there was one man here on his own, and his colleagues came in and found him sat down and shaking, and he had really believed he'd seen an apparition, a ghost, a person, very close to him, and it really shocked him, and he just had to sit down and sort of and recover for a bit. I don't know any more about it than that, I'm afraid.
After the ghost tours. After Jerry told us about the little ghost, he potted off to go do some work, while we went for a little ghost hunt ourselves, but we sadly were unsuccessful.
We have a very good pipe valve adjusting system here. Okay, Matilda, well, there's one really good place to film, and it's just 2 stories up here. I want to show you what's going on there, and if there's not too many people around, you should get a really good shot of actually the water being pumped.
Well, let's go there then.
Follow me.
Look at the floor, it's, you know, just so brilliant. It's even better than a house, and you'd think when you've got to build this massive big building, this massive big steam engine, the last thing you'd be thinking about is a floor, but they thought about it, didn't they?
Keeping an eye on the turbines. And as will the others do.
What's these massive big blocks all moving up and
That's
down?
right. This is fully down, in fully down position. This is pretty much in a fully up position. So you can see the sort of stroke you're getting.
Imagine if you had your fingers there.
Exactly.
You wouldn't want your
Not good.
fingers there, would you?
Well,
That's just
So tomorrow, these will be going up and down.
These will be up and down.
And
so it'll
obviously,
be
due to the health and
sweeping
safety,
up
you
and
couldn't
down
expect
at that sort of
anybody
speed.
in here.
And
Oh,
that's
look at the flywheel.
Wait, imagine.
Oh my gosh.
I just looked above me and I thought, oh God.
It's well fixed.
Thank goodness.
It better be. Boys.
It does weigh 32 tons.
Oh, that's what I thought. I know it weighed 32 tons and I thought, well, gosh, what if it falls? But
Yeah.
it's here. Oh, it's weird having that on top of you. I bet you never had 32 tons above your head. Do any bits just randomly fall.
Hopefully not now.
How come that one's completely different colour to everything else?
Oh, that was, the paint was leaking a bit worse on that, and we chipped all the rust off and got undercoat on it, but we haven't actually got the top coat on it yet. But that's just work in progress, really. There's nothing special about it.
So we're not allowed to film in here today for obvious reasons due to the fact of these pressing down and stuff and we'll probably die. But yeah. But lucky enough, either Jerry or another volunteer is going to come in, take our iPod and he's going to have a little film and they're going to film this spin around, which is going to be super duper exciting. It feels sort of creepy standing underneath there. It's like having 32 tons above your head. It's really, really weird.
So there's water in the chambers here, and when this comes down, it pushes the water down the pipe. So there's a seal here, and if you look at the end here, you can see how the original seals were made. There were 8 layers of this braided leather wrapped around the piston, the ram, and this, when pressed down by the rim on top, would stop the water going past and therefore act as a seal to make sure all the water that was pumped would go down the pipes.
Day ones. Do they still use the same leather and the same sort of thing, or do they use a different material? Or?
No, these haven't been available for a while. There's a choice of very modern plastic fibre ones, or linen or cotton with a sort of a grease packed into them as well.
Do you know how long it took to build like all of this?
Well, yes, Matilda, it was all actually constructed within 2 years. Once the building was complete and the castings were moved in, it was constructed from the base upwards and commissioned within 2 years.
How long do you reckon it took with the building and with making of the machine parts?
That would have probably taken 4 or 5 years.
That's still unbelievably impressive.
Still not long, is it?
Yeah,
It's
no,
not long at all.
Thank you so much for showing me around. You've been an absolute joy showing everything around.
Well, Matilda, I'm very pleased that you're here, actually, because we've never really had the sort of publicity we want, and you're obviously going to help a lot with that, so we're really pleased.
Well, I'm glad I can do something.
That's excellent.
I know it's like so far away from where I live, so I know I can't help you do anything here, but if I can come and do this, it just helps so much.
A little bit of publicity would go down extremely well. Thank you.
Yeah, make sure you do come. And thank you so much again.
Right.
Thank you.
Watching part 1 and make sure you don't miss part 2 where Sir William Prescott will be in full steam. It's absolutely amazing sight. Don't miss it.